Hey everybody, welcome back to Peachy Disc Golf. Today we're going to do a short little disc review video of one of my favorite overstable fairway drivers, the Bear, which has recently been released in this tournament orbit plastic, a really beautiful looking disc, and we're going to compare it to my VIP Ice first edition Bear that I got when the Bear was first released. So let's get right into it. So this VIP Ice Bear has been one of my favorite drivers ever since I got it. It is a dependable 8-speed fairway driver. The numbers are 8.6, negative 0.5, 2.5. So it is a nice overstable fairway driver for me. If you need something that will go straight for a good portion of the flight but still have a nice strong fade at the end, it's not going to be as dumpy as say a Felon or a Firebird, or in my case I use the Draco, but I have really been enjoying this. It's something I've always been able to trust in the headwind. Nice controllable 8-speed flight. 8-speed is definitely a speed that I'm capable of handling with my slower arm speed. I've really been enjoying the Bear, and just recently they released it in this really beautiful tournament orbit plastic. I really like the colors that they have for this disc. Shape-wise, the tournament orbit disc is a little domier and the plastic is a little gummier when compared to the VIP Ice. This one is a little bit flatter, not really a dome to it, and it's a little bit stiffer as well. But hand feel wise, like power grip, they both feel amazing in the hand. I've always found the Bear to be very comfortable to hold, and even with like the extra dome and gumminess with the plastic, they feel nearly identical in the hand for me. So I'm interested to see if there's any difference in flight. The numbers are listed as being the same, so we're gonna find out if that holds true. And also we're gonna compare it to another favorite disc of mine, again from Westside Discs, the Stag. This is another 8-speed 6-glide disc, but this one's listed as a turn of -1 with a fade of 2. I have found this disc to be significantly more understable than the numbers suggest, and in the past I've found that the Stag and the Bear have been really good complements for each other. I can use this on a nice little turnover shot with a little gentle fade at the end, and this if I need something to go straight and dump to the left at the end. So we'll have a couple shots throwing all three of these, and then we'll go through a couple holes here at Chattahoochee Pointe as well to show you some shots where I might select the Bear and see how the two compare.
All right, so we're gonna kick things off here at hole 13 at Chattahoochee Pointe Park. Really wide open hole, 270 feet to the basket. Really good place to get some field work done if the course isn't busy because it's just such an open hole. Tournament orbit Bear here first. You can see I throw it with a little bit of hyzer, and it doesn't really flip up because of that. It just carries nice and straight for most of the flight with a strong fade at the end. Now we're going with the VIP Ice Bear, and I end up throwing this pretty much the same as the tournament orbit, a little bit of hyzer. It doesn't really flip up too much, carries nice and straight with, again, a nice strong overstable finish. Last up then, we have the Stag, and the Stag I'm gonna end up throwing with a good bit more hyzer, and you can see it flips up to flat, even turns to the right a little bit. And then it does have a nice little fade because I did give it a little bit of height. I kind of threw it nose up as well, but definitely more understable. So now here's another round. There's a significant headwind now at this point. And you can see when I throw the tournament orbit Bear, it does flip up just a little bit, but fights out of it really easily. I did unfortunately throw it kind of low, so let's see if I can make the correction with the VIP Ice Bear. And I don't. I throw it straight into the ground as well, but you can see it has a very similar flight. It flips up a little bit, but it does fight out of it. Also, this little like gray SUV was just doing laps here in the parking lot. That was interesting. But here we go with the Stag. You can see again on hyzer, and this time it really turns over. Does have enough height to fight out of it at the end, but it's definitely not a disc I would trust in a headwind like this. All right, one more round here, starting with the tournament orbit Bear. This time I try to throw it on a little bit of anhyzer. And you can see it does hold the turn for a good bit, but it does fight out of it very easily and then still have a nice overstable finish. That had a lot of distance. There's that gray SUV again as I throw the VIP Ice Bear. This time I don't get enough anhyzer on it to get a true comparison, but you can see that even if I did have a little bit of turn, it would have been able to fight out of it pretty easily. Very similar flights for the most part from what I've seen. And then here we are throwing the Stag, and you can see there is still that headwind and it just completely burns over. So again, it's not a disc I would trust in a headwind, but I do like throwing the Stag on these long turnover shots because it does hold the turn really well. So now we're here at hole 11, which is 240 feet. You can see the basket sort of behind this grove of trees in the middle. Both of these shots were really bad, but I kept them in here because it sort of shows what I noticed throughout my entire testing with both of the different bears. So we're just gonna throw the two bears here, no stag anymore, starting with the Tournament Orbit Bear. My plan is to throw to the right of the grove of trees to let it fade in. I throw it with a lot of power and it goes straight, but I throw it too wide and it ends up hitting the trees to the right, which I really didn't think was gonna come into play. So then I'm gonna try again with the VIP Ice Bear, and I end up throwing it almost exactly the same, too wide again, similar power, and because of that it ends up pretty much hitting the same spot in that grove of trees. So I kept this in there because both throws were nearly identical and they ended up pretty much in the same spot. So hole 12 here is a par 4, and the tee shot is a shot I might choose the bear for here because basically I am going to be trying to throw down this big gap on the right in between the trees. So I want something that goes straight for a long way with a nice finish at the end to go to the left. I throw the Tournament Orbit Bear pretty soft. I was focusing more on accuracy. Didn't throw it very high either, but you could see it held a nice straight line for most of the flight with a nice steady fade at the end. And then I end up pretty much doing the same thing again with the VIP Ice Bear as well. I threw it a little bit higher and on hyzer, but it does make it past that first tree that I'm trying to get through and then fades off to the left of the fairway. So then I collect them. I wanted to redeem myself here to throw with a little more power. And this time with the Tournament Orbit Bear, you can see I throw a beautiful shot. It carries through, hits a little bit of leaves on the way in, but it has a nice carry, pretty much ideal spot for where I approach from there. And then I go with the VIP Ice Bear and I throw a very similar shot, similar power as well. And honestly, the flights were nearly identical. I ended up walking to both of these discs, and when I found them, they were pretty much 10 feet apart. I think the VIP Ice Bear was a little further ahead, but again, very, very similar. And the last hole we're gonna look at here is hole 18, another par 4, where I might choose the bear for my tee shot. Basically, I'm going to be aiming to the right of this little tree right in the center of the fairway towards the long grass and trust that the bear is going to have enough stability to come back. So some tournaments will play that long grass is out of bounds. So here we are with the Tournament Orbit Bear. I throw it nice, flat, and hard, and you can see it carries straight until it starts losing speed, and then it has a nice, strong, overstable finish at the end. Then we're going to go with the VIP Ice Bear next, and then I throw a very similar shot, a little bit wider, but you can see the shot shape is nearly identical. Nice straight flight, overstable finish.
Here you can see the VIP Ice, very similar distance to the Tournament Orbit basket over here. So really good distance from here, a little mid-range, overstable mid-range, or even an overstable approach even. So really good distance here. All right, well, we are all finished comparing this new Tournament Orbit Bear against the VIP Ice Bear. And overall, you could probably see from the flights, they are very similar for my arm speed at least. I didn't really notice one being more stable than the other. So really at that point, it's gonna just come down to hand feel. Like I said, this one is a little bit gummier and has a little bit more dome, whereas the VIP Ice, this run came out nice and flat and the plastic is a little bit stiffer. But like I said in the beginning, in the hand, if I'm holding them with my normal power grip, maybe I could tell that this one's a little bit flatter. But for me personally, I don't really find that this one is more uncomfortable. I actually don't know which one of these I'm gonna put in the bag. I'm just really used to throwing this VIP Ice one, but this Tournament Orbit plastic looks so pretty. It's such a nice looking disc. And like I had mentioned at the beginning, the Stag definitely feels different in the hand, but it is a great complement to the Bear. It is significantly more understable, but it still has a nice fade at the end. If I put just a little bit of anhyzer in the headwind, the Stag was able to fight out of it, but it did pan a good deal to the right first. But hand feel wise, the Stag is definitely domier, but this 8-speed rim still feels great. So the Bear, the Stag, an excellent 1-2 punch combo if you're looking for like a 8-speed complementary combo. Really good together. The VIP Ice versus the Tournament Orbit, for me, almost interchangeable. So that's just gonna come down if you have like a really strong preference to having something like board flat, which this VIP Ice Bear almost is. It's almost board flat, whereas the Tournament Orbit definitely has a more pronounced dome. That'll really be the main difference to see like which disc you would prefer over the other. But overall, I enjoyed throwing all of these discs. And the bear, the stag, both of them are in my bag. Just not sure which bear yet. But that's gonna be it for this episode, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't yet, I would greatly appreciate it if you would consider subscribing to the channel. If you enjoyed watching this disc review, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and ring that notification bell so you can be notified when our next episode comes out. Until next time, guys, cheers.